Hello, Year 7. One or two of you have been in touch this week with regards to the work that we've been looking at on ratio. So what I intend to do in this video is go through 3 further examples of how you share a number in a ratio. So this video best supports lesson number 4, but would also prove useful for some of the questions in the homework task of ratio 5. Now, understanding how to share in a given ratio really ties into the work that you were doing in lesson number 3, where you can look at a ratio and work out the proportions that are equated to that ratio. So for example, and I'll go through this one in a little bit of detail, I've put down that Mr. Butterworth and Olive share 70 sweets in the ratio 3:2. How many does each person get? So this isn't the case where me and Olive are sharing the sweets equally. Why would I want to share my sweets equally with anyone? I would want more for myself. So the way that this is working is for every 3 that I get, Olive gets 2. Then I give myself 3, and then Olive would get 2, and so on. And what I could do if I wanted to is I could keep doing that. 3 for me, 2 for Olive, 3 for me, 2 for Olive, until I have distributed 70 sweets. But that would take a very, very long time, and there's a quicker way to get to the answer. Now, this ratio, 3:2, comprises 3 parts for me and 2 parts for Olive. So in total, that is 5 parts. So the number of parts altogether is 5, of which that I'm getting 3 and Olive is getting 2. So thinking back to ratio 3's lesson, the proportion as a fraction that I am getting is 3 parts out of 5. There were 5 parts altogether and I am getting 3 parts. Okay, Olive is getting 2 parts out of 5. So she is getting 2/5. So I get 3/5 of the sweets. Olive gets 2/5 of the sweets. So if I want to work out how many I'm getting all together, I need to work out 3/5 of 70. And how can I work out 3/5 of something? Well, this ties into the work you were doing on fractions earlier in the year. We divide by the denominator, we divide by 5 to work out 1 part or 1/5, and then I multiply by the numerator, which is 3. So 70 divided by 5 is 14, and 14 times by 3 is 42. So I'm going to get 42 of those 70 sweets. And Olive, who is getting 2/5, (70 divided by 5 is still 14, times it by 2 is 28 sweets. Now, there's a nice little thing that you can do at the end, because these two numbers, the number that I get and the number that Olive gets, should add up to the number that we started with. And 42 plus 28 is 70. So, let's move on to this second example. And this time I've got Maddie and Evie sharing £40 in the ratio of 5:3. So since Maddie's name comes first, she is the 5 parts and Evie is the 3 parts. How many parts are there altogether in the ratio of 5:3? Well, I do 5 add 3, which is 8. So the number of parts is 8. Maddie is getting 5 of those parts. So the proportion that Maddie is getting is 5 out of 8 parts. For Evie, she is getting 3 of those parts, which is 3 out of 8. Okay, so now we've got to split that £40 in those proportions. So Maddie is 5/8 of the £40. To work out 5/8, we're going to divide 40 by 8 to work out one part, or 1/8, and then times by 5. So 40 divided by 8 is 5, times 5 is £25 for Maddie. And then for Evie, it is 3/8. So 3/8 of £40 is 40 divided by 8 is 5, times 3 is 15. And again, you can see with that little check that those numbers add up to £40. So a nice little way of convincing yourself things are going well. Okay, third and final example. Got Ben and Joey sharing 100 Pokemon cards in the ratio 7:3. How many does each get? So, how many parts do you think it is? It's going to be 10 parts. 7 add 3. What proportion do you think Ben gets? Well, since Ben's name comes first, he is the 7. So he gets 7 out of those 10 parts. And Joey only gets 3 parts, which is 3/10. So for Ben, we need to work out 7/10 of 100. So divide by 10 to work out one part, or 1/10, and multiply by 7. So he will get 70 cards. For Joey, he will get 3/10 of 100. And 100 divided by 10, multiplied by 3, is 30 cards. So altogether, that does make 100, so I'm convinced that my answers are right. So year 7, I hope that helps out a little bit. If you are struggling with work, it's really, really important that you say which lesson it is you are working on and what part you are struggling with. I've had quite a few emails where it's, "Sir, I'm stuck," and because everyone's probably not quite working at the same speeds as everybody else, I'm not immediately sure what lesson it is that you might need some help with. Okay? But do get in touch. But for the time being, that is me signing out, and goodbye.